Bizarre. Teachers and Education Workers Union of TUC urges Vice Chancellors Ghana to deal ruthlessly with striking members of TUGH.
And it's exactly 6 months since President John Dramani Mahama took the reins of government once again. This afternoon, we'll bring you the views of some Ghanaians as well as a look at what has happened during these 6 whole months.
A lot later, drivers plying the stretch connecting Onyi and Ejisu Monday morning block road, leaving passengers stranded. We'll get the details for you. Start of a brand new week. Hello there, welcome to News Central. I am Mawina Igbeta.
And I am Kameni Amano. News Central starts right now. Let's get into our first story. The stretch connecting Onwi and Ejisu was Monday morning blocked by irate drivers, leaving stranded passengers. Working on the stretch started during funeral of the late former Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma, but has been abandoned by the contractor. We can now connect with William Evans Inkum, who's live from Kumasi. William, let's talk quickly about the stretch. Give us a background of this Ejisu Connects Road and how strategic it is.
Well, so the Connect Road is about 32 road projects in the Ejisu municipality being carried out by the Urban Feeder and Highway Department. So they are making sure that these stretch of road projects are actually worked on. Now, in April, the Minister for Roads and Highways cancelled for the commencement of this particular road project. And that was a month after the death of the former and late, Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma. Don't forget that he was also the former Member of Parliament for Ejisu constituency. That was when people began to raise or suspect that he could have some level of political linkage, because it was just 3 weeks to the by-election after his demise. And I can't remember exactly 18th of April, and that was Thursday, when media, when the media asked the former Roads and Highways Minister Francis Azosu-Boakye whether that speculation that the work on the road has been speed up because of the by-election. And let me quote verbatim what the then road minister said. These are not by-election projects. These are not by-election projects. The past 3 years, some of the projects have been going on. And these were the exact words of the former Roads and Highways Minister. On 16th of June, that is this year, there were concerns, raised, or there were concerns from residents that the road projects have been halted and that they want some level of supersonic speed back on the road as they witnessed, in 2024. But that did not happen. This morning, we woke up only to hear that commercial drivers have blocked parts of the road, especially the one linking on Paso and Ejisu. Passengers are stranded because they are not working. Not only that they are not working, but they are also not allowing any passenger as far as the vehicular movement on that particular stretch.
Very well. Evans, would you say the situation is still the same as we speak?
Well, it has calmed as I speak to you now. But some of the residents and, of course, drivers have been sharing their sentiments. Let's just take a listen.
I'm saying, yeah, blepa. Edra nyumra. Esuo to a. Yentimi ko. Say you tonight e wo mu no. Uko peka.
Anytime it rains, we are unable to use the road. Car owners are even refusing to give out their cars because of the bad nature of the road. We are now jobless.
Because of it's
private car. Udu ekwanmu kinken no Land Rover me base awai ama oil na hwiegu eduru anwumere yenya ka nko
I use a 4x4 car. My oil tank hit a rock on the road and got black. The road must be repaired.
Car owners ejo mo car eteduru anwumere yenya ka nko eduru no pakwa na bobo ti esra ban yesre no yanka say ye demonstration de ti aban bia da bi the demonstration here say yakwan here pe
bre president so bre Akwatia MP say ekwana say by election no be.
The road is dilapidated. During the election, the government promised to complete it, and we saw works. But right after the election, work stopped. Yesira mo aban yesira no se ne yesira no adesira de eletu anim se yesira no ekotogu form ye pana chew o ma hwe onwe kwaso kwan ma
by 130 the Bezongo Junction na behwe is obi a ku yese wo ye driver ni na ko pe car unya bo onwe kwaso say me mfa me car ma me a me driver ni mfuta lances me ni madam fu ye dwe ko je car round about that car wo na be je me car. So what to say the car and
You heard some drivers from Onyune Ejisu area. Earlier was Evans Inkum, Ashanti region correspondent.
Let's return to the capital because the minority has accused government of taking undue credit in the discoveries of the Ebana Kuma oil and gas discoveries. Addressing the media in Parliament, the deputy ranking on the Energy Committee, Collins Adomako-Mensah, noted that the discoveries and relevant appraisal programs took place under the Akufo-Addo government. He says the declaration of commerciality of these two without necessary credit to the past administration must be condemned. Christian Yale is in Parliament for us. Let's go to him right now. Chris, we've been hearing the minority, but really, what more have they been saying in terms of the basis for condemning what they believe the government is doing?
Exactly, Eric. So what we know is that a few days ago, the Energy Ministry issued a statement in which statement it announced the commerciality of the Eban Akuma discoveries in Cape 3 Point. This is what the minority on the Energy Committee has been responding to. And by far, the message from them is that the discoveries of the Akuma drill was done in 2019 by ENI Ghana, which was published on this website of ENI Ghana, and subsequent to that in 2021 as well, ENI Ghana again discovered another well, which was the Iban well, which is all in Cape 3 Point, and as it were, the Cape 3 Point Block 4. That is where these two wells have been discovered, and they go ahead to make the point that after these discoveries, both under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, ENI secured the approval, which is under the petroleum agreement, to undertake the appraisal programs for these two, wells. And so it means that the process leading to the declaration of commerciality of Iban and Akuma discoveries is something that has started way back under the 8-year rule of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. So what they are seeking, and their point mainly, is that the Energy Ministry could have credited the past administration for all of these successes that they chalked during their tenure by making these crucial discoveries and also even the appraisal forms. And when you look at it, what Collins Adomako-Mensah, the deputy ranking on the Energy Ministry, is saying is that after securing the approvals for the, the appraisal programs as well, ENI Ghana started the processes, as it were, towards the declaration of the commerciality. And so there is no way this government, under just 7 months, can say that they've done a lot by way of the appraisal programs to end the commerciality, the commercial status of these 2 wells in the Cape 3 Point block, Block 4. And so they are calling the government to do the right thing where it is due by crediting those who started the processes before they even assumed the reins of power. And Eric, when you look at their statement, which I hold a copy, they make a point, and they're saying that following the successful outcome of the prior approved appraisal of the Iban Akuma discoveries, ENI, which is ENI Ghana, has, as it is required under the CTP Block 4 Petroleum Agreement, informed the Energy Ministry and the Energy and Green Transition Ministry of its determination that the discoveries are commercial and can be produced under a later approval of the plan of development. And so when you look at it, they talk about a number of, items that were approved, including the Pecan Southeast, which was operated by ACA in 2018.
Right,
and
Chris.
Then they go ahead to even Eric.
So essentially,
including the Afina 1X and the rest of them.
Right. Essentially, they're making the argument that the previous administration did all of the work only for this government wanting to take all of the credit for it. Hence, going forward, the expectation is that the previous administration will be mentioned and given the due credits. That's essentially all of what they're saying.
That is what they are saying. And in their own words, they say it represents a very shambolic and unjustified way of crediting the Mahama administration with a success story that this administration has no hand in it. That is basically what they are saying. And they say that NPP's record in the development of Ghana's hydrocarbon resources and even the upstream petroleum sector is one that cannot be denied in any means.
It will be interesting what their majority counterparts say going forward. But we know that starting today, Parliament as well is beginning extended sittings as the House moves to conclude sittings by end of this month. Talk to us about what more we're expecting on the floor of the House today. There were reports as well that the minority was staging a walk of some sort to the headquarters of IOCO as well. What updates do you have on that front?
Eric, from the former, we know that Parliament is expected to go on a recess or adjourn sine die somewhere later this month by 31st July. What it means is that there are loads of work that the legislature needs to undertake, including a number of legislative instruments that have matured over the period. And so adding Mondays and Saturdays to the regular sitting days is one that would afford the House enough time to, undertake a crucial exercise of looking at some of these bills, especially those that would mature and would be considered under certificate of urgency to be determined under Standing Order 160, for instance. And so beginning today, Parliament is going to sit on Mondays as well as Saturdays. We know that there is one particular bill, for instance, which is supposed to mature within 21 days. But if Parliament should sit from Tuesdays to Fridays, it means that it cannot mature within the 21-day stipulated period. And so the addition of Mondays and Saturdays would more or less give room for it to mature, also looking at the urgency of it concerning the petroleum sector indeed. And so what we expect is that within this period, there will be ample time for the legislator to be able to undertake all of these exercises and make all of those approvals as soon as possible. But indeed, last week, for instance, we know that a number of those legislative instruments were read for the first time and referred to the relevant committees or the subject matter committees to be considered before they are brought back to the plenary or the chamber, which is the committee of the whole, for them to be considered. Eric.
Right then, Chris, thank you very much for those details. That's my colleague Christian Yale in Parliament for us. I'm sure we'll go back to him as and when there's further development on the floor.
In the meantime, the Ghana Police Service says it has arrested key suspects in a fatal shooting incident that occurred on the 19th of June 2025, leading to the death of a Queen Mother and injuring of another person. Briefing the media, Greater Accra Regional PRO Superintendent Juliana Obeng explained the suspect, Gilbert Awene, alias Starboy, aimed and shot at 33-year-old Queen Mother Pearl Na Dodoa Whitaker, who died on the spot. Let's connect with our correspondent, Judith Brown, who's been following this story. Judith, good afternoon to you. What else can you tell us from this news conference?
Right, and so, Kemini, as you've rightly said, this conference was basically reporting on issues of a shooting that happened on the 19th of June, 2025, that led to the death of a Queen Mother and another person. Well, the other person didn't necessarily die, but she was injured. She was shot in the chest, according to the police. She was called, or she is called Priscilla Ayele, and she's currently in stable condition. She is in the hospital currently. But of course, the Queen Mother, Pearl Na Dodoa, died on the spot. According to the police, after the incident happened, the suspect, also known as Starboy, fled the scene to a Sokori in the Ashanti region, where they were able to trace him, and then that led to the arrest of the suspect. He says that he was influenced by some narcotics or alcohol. The police have reported that they saw that he had drunk a bottle of Sobolo, which was infused with narcotics, and that led to that shooting. They also say that a number of other suspects were shooting indiscriminately at the crime scene, and they have also been arrested. And so currently that's what's happening. They've arrested the suspects. We have to see when they will be, arraigned in court for subsequent trial, and whether or not there would be whatever sentence they'll be given to them subsequently. But of course, they've also, I asked them actually about the EC organizing the
Ablekuma North elections.
The Ablekuma North constituency, and they said that they are aware of the fact that the elections will be held in a few days, and that when there's a need for security, they will definitely provide that security. So they were not really, they didn't say for a fact that they will be there, but they said that where there's a need for security, they would provide that security in the Ablekuma North constituency. And so that's what's happening right here at the Ghana Police Service after the presser.
Very well, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. Judith Brown is our correspondent who's been covering that news conference with the update on Na Dodoa's death, which occurred on the 19th of June, 2025. Let's turn attention to education now, because the Teachers and Education Workers Union under the Trades Union Congress is calling on Vice Chancellors of Ghana to take firm action against members of TEWU GH who are currently on strike. General Secretary King James Azotiba described the industrial action as unlawful, calling for disciplinary action and order on the various campuses. Azotiba emphasized that the strike lacks legal backing and must not be allowed to disrupt academic and administrative actions.
What the Vice Chancellor should be doing is to ensure that there's discipline on the campus. They have allowed indiscipline to prevail for a very long time. And I thank God that the Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Commission has stamped his foot that the right things should be done. The law must prevail and the law must work.
They should punish them?
Not necessarily punishing them, but you see, I am the General Secretary of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union. I work for the workers of the university. So they are supposed to do their work, and I fight for their rights for them. And so if you are a university employee and you turn yourself around and say you are a union executive and you are using the university time to work and then use the university resources to fight against the university, is that not indiscipline? We have been in the tertiary education space since 1962, and the industrial educational atmosphere in the public university had been very cordial. TEWU had been one of the biggest union in the TUC fraternity. We have membership across the country, about 85,000 members. We are very disciplined. We have the collective bargaining certificate covering all the public universities. Our constitution says that a member who wants to resign or leave the union must write individually to us and giving us 6 months notice so that we'll talk with him and find out his grievances, what is making him to leave. Right. Let us understand whether we can address his issues. If we are able to address it, he comes back. If we are not able to address it, what commitments do we have for him? What commitment has he got with us? Encouraging all our members to be at post. And as we speak, all the various campuses that we have monitored this morning, work is going on very smoothly, and there's no sign of any national strike. So I think this, as I told you earlier, it's not biting, it won't bite, it is a joke.
It's still News Central here on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano. Still up ahead on the news. That coalition party forming a brand new party between Atiku Abubakar and the much-loved Peter Obi. We'll look at how that could impact the upcoming elections in Nigeria when we return.
Welcome back to News Central. Let's take you out of Ghana to Nigeria because the two main opposition leaders last week joined a new political party to challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his ruling APC in the next election come 2027. Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi chose the African Democratic Congress ADC as their new political home after breaking away from their respective parties, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the Labour Party. This is one of the biggest shakeups in Nigerian politics since the end of military rule in 1999. The announcement is the culmination of a series of talks between the leaders to put up a united front in the 2027 election rather than splitting their votes. Some political heavyweights from Tinubu's All Progressive Congress Party, that's APC, have also thrown their weight behind the new alliance. President Tinubu won the 2023 election with just 37% of the vote after the opposition supporters were divided between Abubakar, Atiku, and then Peter Obi, 29% and 25% respectively. Let's shake it all up and bring you a bit more in terms of the perspective. Let's cross the border to Nigeria and engage Ambrose, Dr. Ambrose Igboke. He is a global affairs analyst and PR consultant. Is joining us via Zoom right now. Doc, I appreciate you speaking to us. So what does this alliance that we're seeing begin to mean for Nigeria's politics? It's one that happens quite often, but how big of a deal is what we're seeing play out right now?
Good afternoon, and to your audience and to everybody in Ghana, greetings from Nigeria. Nigeria's trajectory of political democracy from 1999 till now is 26 years old. So what we are doing, we are in the fifth cycle of election where we had in 2023. And why we started with People's Democratic Party being the major dominant party in 1999. So we had splinter regional parties like the Alliance for Democracy, the Southwest, and then we have the All People's Party in the North that produced 9 governors. And Alliance for Democracy produced 6 governors. And then PDP had the lion's share of almost 20 governors. Now, over the year, PDP's decline started in 2013, and when a coalition of forces, just like what is repeating itself, 2 years to the election of 2015, a coalition of forces came together. That is the AD, Alliance for Democracy, that transmuted into ACN, which is All Congress Party, Alliance for Democracy transformed. And then we have what is Action Congress of Nigeria, transformed to ACN. Then PDP itself was divided. It had an implosion that had 5 governors from PDP move away from PDP. And then we had what they call the new PDP. And then we have splinter groups from ANP. Then a very major block from the CPC, which is Buhari's party. The 5 blocks came together to form the APC in 2013. And it was this APC, All Progressive Congress, that now were able to defeat the incumbent then, who is the PDP person. So we are also seeing alignments and realignments 2 years ago into the election, were major election. The 2023 election was a major one because the ruling party could not even muster enough vote, just as you have said. They couldn't muster up to 40% of the vote. That's a disaster. But over the 2 years now, there have been so many political alienations. There have been political realignments. There have been political grievances because some people didn't, gain from this current administration in terms of position.
Right.
So the Nigerians are also suffering. There's a lot of harsh economic policies of the present administration. So these groups decided to come together. Former enemies decided to
come together and challenge the current president.
I was thinking that they would do what the coalition did in 2013,
right,
where they can form a new political party of their own, sit down and agree. But this time around, they decided to go and pitch their tent on an already existing small party called ADC.
ADC.
So now, It is a very strong coalition. Nobody should wish them away. And we are looking forward to see what they can come up with.
The big question is whether or not they're able to challenge Tinubu, who, according to many who are watching the political space in Nigeria, is moving ahead of himself in making sure he secures his second term, because we all know he stated quite clearly that it has been his life ambition to be president, and not just be president for one term, but president for 2 terms. So how well can this new coalition we're seeing challenge him and possibly unseat him?
The Nigerian political landscape is a very unique one that you may not be used to in other African climes. 24 hours is a lot of time in Nigerian politics, because the things that go on could actually just switch over and change under 24 hours, and you'll be mystified on the direction of a paradigm shift in the politics. Well, as it stands now, the coalition, the people that make up the coalition are heavyweights. Nobody can deny that. We have P2B, whose followership is, domiciled among the youth population and the obedient movement. Then we have Atiku Abubakar, who is an old political warhorse, vice president to the Olusegun Obasanjo in the first transition of the Fourth Republic. He has been around. He has been contesting presidency for, I think this is the 6th time now. And I think he also feels that it is his turn. I mean, it is his lifelong ambition to, have to be the president of the country. But I'm seeing a lot of complexities in this coalition. There are 2 many formidable candidates there. So Peter Obi wants to be president. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar wants to be president. Rotimi Amechi wants to be president.
Who leads?
Now, who leads? Who even says, look, I'm stepping down for the other? I think when we want to look at things squarely and fairly, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should not contest the presidency. He made a fatal error by contesting the presidency in 2003 and 2023. You see, in Nigeria, there's a principle of unwritten rotational presidency. It's not written in the constitution, but it's a gentleman's agreement that when the North has its own 8 years, it rotates to the southern part of the country. So that rotation between the North and South is a gentleman's agreement that has been obeyed. So Alhaji Atiku Abubakar made a fatal error, and the inconceivable conciseness, it's not fair on the people of the South for him to have even contested election in 2023. That's political greed as far as we are concerned, because those from the North had 8 years where the incumbent of Muhammadu Buhari was just completing a second tenure. And then for a northerner to even dream to go back again and do 18 years or 16 years is unfair.
Right.
So he should bury his own political presidential ambition and support somebody from the South. If they bring out a Peter Obi, they may stand a lot of chances in trying to cause a major political upset. Right. But if they don't do that, then they'll lose more political base.
Just briefly, how has the APC government been responding to this new coalition since it was announced?
Well, for now, the APC they are just being dismissive. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can proceed.
Okay, the APC is being dismissive. We heard that a press release from the presidency called it political IDPs, internally displaced persons. That is laughable. I think they are jittery, because it's when you are jittery that you start making those kind of comments. And I also know that the APC has become formidable over the last 10 years and will not allow this kind of things as just power pulled under their feet. So I'm sure they are putting their own strategy. Some political pundits are saying that the national chairman who resigned recently was also part of the calculation to strengthen their power across some major states like Kano states, where the former national chairman comes from. You know, in Nigeria's politics, three states bring the highest votes: Kano, Lagos, and Rivers State. And for now, the president has Lagos, he has Rivers, because the political master game planner of Rivers is on his side. Then he wants to get Kano. And by getting Kano, he's allowing the grand master of politics in Kano, Rabi Kwakwaso, if he can win him over his side, which is a strategy we are looking at, then he will have a formidable team also. So we'll watch and see how things plan out, but it's going to be very, very interesting towards 2027.
Doc, I appreciate you speaking to us. That's Dr. Ambrose Igboke speaking to us this afternoon on the latest development in neighboring Nigeria, and we'll continue to keep close tabs on that and bring those to you.
Well, back here in Ghana, founding member of the NPP, Dr. Charles Rekubrobe, has criticized the party's decision to hold its presidential primary in January of 2026, almost 3 years ahead of the country's general elections scheduled for 2028. Dr. Rekubrobe says what the NPP should be doing now is reflecting on why the party lost massively instead of thinking of what goes into the next election. The comment follows the NPP's decision to elect its flag bearer early, saying it would help unite the front of the party and deal with apathy it faced in the 2024 general elections.
The party you founded, the NPP, current state.
I would not discuss it. Please move on.
What about the decision of the party to elect a flag bearer ahead of the other general elections, internal elections that generally is supposed to have?
It has nothing to do with me.
But what do you expect from the party?
I do not expect anything. What I expect from the opposition party is to actually be more concerned about examining the reasons for his very bad performance and in the last election, and the huge rejection that the Ghanaians gave to them. People should understand that Ghanaians did not reject them because of the person they presented for power, but Ghanaians rejected them because of the failure of their policies. And no amount of trying to use Parliament and the current session of Parliament to tell Ghanaians that you did not understand our achievements is going to change the fact that we have never seen such huge defeat, and that the important thing is to examine the causes for the defeat, why Ghanaians did not ask them, and finding ways in which you can present a better picture. I don't think that better picture is determined by who is your candidate. It will be determined by the conviction of Ghanaians that you have learned your lessons and you are in a better place to offer them something better than what Mahama is offering in his legacy tenure. You have been defeated so badly. The important thing is for you to find out why Ghanaians rejected you, and then prepare to present a better picture.
We can now bring you by the numbers. Now, it's been exactly 6 months since President John Dramani Mahama took the reins of government for his second term. As the administration reaches this milestone, attention is turned into its performance across key sectors. The cedi has gained strength, inflation has declined, and several initiatives in education, youth employment, and infrastructure have been rolled out. At the same time, issues such as rising electricity tariff, the energy sector levy, and the ongoing fight against illegal mining have drawn mixed reactions. In this edition of By the Numbers, we take a closer look at what has been achieved, was under scrutiny, and how citizens are responding. So we put the question to Ghanaians: how do you assess? What's your assessment of John Mahama's presidency #2? And this is what a lot of you had to say.
So far, I'd say they are doing well, but it's not perfect as they promised before. We can all see that the prices of things in the markets are reducing, though it hasn't reduced to the way we want it to reduce to. I'll use myself as an example. So commuting from the house to work every day, the transportation was a lot, minus food and other stuff. The transportation alone was a lot of money, but now it has reduced, and then because the prices of things in the markets have also reduced, buying food is a bit cheaper, not too cheap, not very cheap, but apart from Kakra. So the 6 months, okay, I'd give them maybe a 7.5. They are doing well, yes. I believe they should be able to make it up to a 9 or a 9.5. They should be able to do well to help the economy of the country as a whole. Yes.
I think that he has done well. He has done well in that he's cut some taxes. I mean, the e-levy is gone. Betting tax is gone. You know, he's doing well. He's doing well. Again, the Mahama case, he has launched it, which largely will benefit a lot of people. You understand me? Mahama case will benefit a lot of people. So I am more of a socialist. Anything that goes for the masses, I'm for it. And I think he's doing well. I mean, to cut taxes and all of that, he has done well. I'll give him 7 because, I mean, even though he's doing well on the economy, there's also a few things that I think that if he can check, it will be really helpful. A few things like security. Aside that, economy, top notch. I wish he continues like this. If Mahama succeeds, Ghana succeeds, right? Fighting corruption also comes with a lot of backlash in our part of the world. I think that we should just allow our state institutions to work. When they are working, let us not try to smear them with political affiliations and all of this.
The depression that we were going through in terms of monetary affairs has been released a little. So partially we are all happy, and we pray for him that it should improve. So I'll give him 6 for now. Some things that he promised, he's fulfilling, like cutting down of ministers, he has fulfilled. And you can see that those monies that will be allocated for those ministers that have been cut off have been invested into other sectors. He has improved our Ghana CD. So many things. We've not seen much in our buying of things as at now. We've not seen much improvement yet. But we hope days and months to come, years go by, and we will see much improvement in our pockets.
Well, sounds like the verdict from that Vox Pop is a 7. Minor. What are the numbers telling you?
Well, we're going to try and do 6 months after the swearing in, looking at a number of sectors: the economy, education, agriculture, infrastructure, and then the last one will be the approval rate, in which we'll seek to try and gauge the sentiment of Ghanaians, some of which we've been hearing from. But if we start from the city, which was one of the most topical things which have been mentioned by a number of the people who've been speaking to us, they point clearly that the city is doing well. It's one thing which has impacted largely a number of things. We've seen inflation slow significantly over the last few months, and that's one of the things we're going to be pointing at, 13.7%. That largely, many will say, is attributable to the fact that the city has performed creditably against the US dollar. So we've moved from 15.46 as at April to 10.35. Based off on that alone, we've seen our public debt reduced by 150 billion cedis. That's brought as well debt to GDP ratio to 55%. We've seen a continuation of a build-up of our gold reserve, which is strongly backing our currency as well, started by the previous administration, continued by this administration, leaving our gold revenue and reserve ratio around some 2.7 billion US dollars. And so the key achievement when we talk about the matters of the economy, currency stability, debt reduction, and then inflation control as well, which for many people has contributed largely to a reduction in fuel prices and what have you. Let's look at education as well. We know last week there was the launch of the no fees stressed by the government, where students were already receiving a refund of the fees paid by their parents, some of which were saying they were going to inform their parents about it. But on a number of fronts, in terms of what the government promised in its manifesto rather, and as well captured in the budget, we've seen the National Apprenticeship Program launched. It was launched in the northern part of the country. We've seen the Ejumera program as well come into fruition. We're yet to assess fully the rollout of these programs, but on the face value, they've been launched. I mentioned the no fees stress policy, then free tertiary for persons with disability as well, and then that new medical school at the UENR. Then on matters of digital transformation, that 1 million coders program has been launched. We saw the Minister, Sam George, as well speak largely to it. 250,000 plus youth already enrolled. There's been digital literacy currently being enrolled nationwide. On internet, 5G expansion, new tech and research and development hub to be established. Cybersecurity reforms are expected. Let's go to agriculture just briefly, because we should be getting a bit more from there as well. And so on agriculture, the government is proposing 200,000 hectares to boost the country's yields when it comes to cocoa production and the likes. That is in the offing, it's in the works. The AgriNext Youth Program as well, that we understand has been launched. Farmer centers, all districts, that as well, we get the indication is currently being rolled out. The Feed Ghana program, we've seen that being launched as well. The Nkukon Kitinkiti program as well has been launched. The fisheries sector is receiving some creditable support. Now let's come to infrastructure, and where a lot of you will be seeking to see your roads and the likes being greatly improved. The big push is what the NDC government has promised. It's been captured in the budget, but we're yet to see its official launch and the rollouts subsequently, even though we've seen a number of road projects being instituted. I think last week thereabout, we're in part of the Ashanti region where a bridge had been reconstructed, awaiting its official opening. Road tolls have been reintroduced, and then there's a promise of modern market. We know that Okada has been legalized, but there are formal works in place being led by the DVLA and then the National Road Safety Authority to ensure that its implementation is seamless. Then we're expecting as well the e-tolling to take place. Let's go lastly to the approval ratings of the government. This was captured in the recent survey by Global Info Analytics. We're seeing a 73% approval rating for the current administration and the president. 70% of respondents in the last survey by Global Info Analytics say that the country is headed in the right direction. On the handling of the economy, 74% say yes, good enough job done. They want 67% focused on jobs. 59% say living standards have improved. There's a positive outlook as well for the country, with 72% of respondents saying so. When we look at the approval rating by regions, Greater Accra region, which many believe more often than not represents the entirety of the nation in terms of our opinions and how we see things because of its cosmopolitan nature. 78% believe we're headed in the right direction and approve of the handling of the country by the president. The northern region, 82%, the Volta region, 85%, and the Ashanti region as well, 46%. And so 6 months on in the second term of the John Mahama administration, this is what has been done. This is what Ghanaians say they make of it. And we leave the verdict to you as you continue to interact with us on our social media handles. That's it for you by the way of By the Numbers.
On another news, pressure is mounting on Goldfields, Ghana's Takwa site to bail out its contractor BCM Ghana Limited as 750 workers demand end of contracts benefits agreed upon in the 2022 MOU.
In 2018, Goldfields transitioned to contract mining at Takwa to boost operational efficiency, increase production, explore new reserves, and extend the mine's lifespan. BCM Ghana Limited, one of the contractors, manages Zone 1 pits at Mentrim, Atuabo, and Tebrebe. According to the August 2022 Memorandum of Understanding between BCM Ghana Limited and the Ghana Mine Workers Union, employees are entitled to 25% of their annual basic salary, plus pro rata payments for fractional years served upon contract expiration and termination. After the contract agreement expired in December 2024, BCM's failure to meet its obligations sparked worker protests, which, despite repeated efforts, have been unsuccessful in resolving the issue.
BCM has refused to pay us our beneficiaries. The most painful aspect is those that they have gotten an injury through this operation or through this work. Ghana Medical Board has declared these people that they can't work again in their life. It will be painful. Those people should have been even sorted out. But as we are talking now, those people are among us. The company has refused to take their medical bills. The company has refused to pay their compensation. And we are all suffering. About 750 workers. We are in the house. Our source of livelihood has been cut off.
Mountain worker pressure prompted BCM Ghana Limited to request Goldfields assistance through a bailout. Although Goldfields agreed to help, progress has allegedly stalled due to BCM's lack of commitment, stemming from management's failure to convene discussions. According to Employee Relations Manager at Goldfields, George Mawuli Damien, the company cannot make a unilateral decision without BCM's input and commitment.
We cannot unilaterally sit here and take the decision that we are going to pay employees whatever is due them, without involving BCM and getting BCM to commit that they are going to, they agree that we should go that route. But unfortunately, whenever we need to have a roundtable meeting, they fail to pitch up.
The concerned BCM workers, accompanied by representatives from Goldfields and the Municipal Labour Officer, met with the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson for further discussions. BCM management, however, failed to attend, citing security concerns. The minister has meanwhile pledged to escalate the issue to the relevant authorities.
So far, the disrespect so shown by them to Nananum and to all the parties involved in this matter is mind-boggling. I mean, to say that coming to the RCC poses a security threat to them is something that, I mean, it's just an excuse to stay away. At this stage, I think that the ministry itself, the Minerals Commission, will have to be brought into the picture. Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. And so with the information we have, what I think we will do after here is to see, to write to the ministry to take it up.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Takwa.
News Central will take another break. When we come back, we come with some breaking news.
Unfortunate news coming through right now from the NPP's quarters and in Parliament, because news suggests that a sitting member of Parliament, or the sitting member of Parliament for Akwatia, Enes Yaokumi, has unfortunately passed. And we've just got confirmation of that word. And rather unfortunate, rather unsettling news. He has been in the center of quite some controversy. Remember his constituency, one of the many challenged, and one that is currently being challenged as well by the NDC. He was cited for contempt some point earlier on this year. The party, the NPP, went to court and had that reversed at the Supreme Court. And essentially, he's no more. It's pretty much all that we have to say. The Akwatia Member of Parliament, Enes Yaokumi, is no more. And that's the latest unfortunate news that's just coming through from Parliament. We've got confirmation from colleagues. My colleague Christian Yale is in Parliament for us as well, has been gauging the mood already from Parliament, but we've been calling and seeking to get word when the news began to come through. Very hard pill to swallow for anybody waking up to the realization that a husband, a father possibly is no more, no less than a sitting member of Parliament for the good people of Akwatia, no longer with us, a part of the living. And I mentioned we will connect with my colleague Christian Yale just shortly, and then get a sense of really what's happening on the floor of the House. But if you're wondering who Enes Yaokumi is, just want to run you through that just briefly. Born on the 5th of December 1984, he's a member of the New Patriotic Party. Obviously, he's the member of Parliament for Akwatia in the Eastern region. He was declared winner of the 2024 parliamentary elections with 19,269 votes, defeating the NDC's Henry Boachi Yadom, secured the NPP nomination in 2023 by defeating the incumbent member of Parliament, Amase, and he's been largely known for the last 6 months, really, for the controversy surrounding his constituency, because in February of 2025, we know that he was convicted by the Koforidua High Court for contempt after defying an injunction that barred him from being sworn in as a member of Parliament. In fact, on the dawn of the 9th Parliament, you recall what was almost a debate on the floor of the House when the clerk to Parliament raised objection to the fact that they had been served with papers from the Koforidua High Court that he was to cease from holding himself out as a member of Parliament because the NDC had challenged that particular seat. The consensus which was reached as championed by the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, was that he will swear himself in and live with the consequence. The consequence was that in February of this year, he was contempt processes, or he was found or convicted of contempt by the Koforidua High Court, having continued to hold himself out as a member of Parliament. Subsequently, he, along with the NPP, went to the Supreme Court to have that set aside. It was something they went and were successful with. It was set aside, but unfortunately, he's not been able to live to see the full term, even as the challenges of this suit continues in the High Court in the Eastern region. And very unfortunate news that's coming through. We will, in the course of quite shortly, this extended bulletin, hopefully connect with Christian Yale, who's in Parliament, and just gauge briefly as well what the mood is like in Parliament. But the unfortunate news right now is the Akwatia Member of Parliament, Enes Yaokumi, has passed. And that's just the news that we can confirm to you right now. Let's just try and connect with Christian Yale just briefly. Yale has joined us on Zoom. Christian, talk to us what the mood is like, which has gripped Parliament. This unfortunate news just coming in.
Eric, yes. So as of now, we do not know exactly what caused his death, but already we have spoken with a number of the members of parliament on the minority side. I have spoken with Dr. Mahama Kabiru, MP for Waliwali. All that he said was that, it's unfortunate. And I've also tried to get in touch with the minority leader himself, Alexander Afeoma-Akin, who has not yet responded. But when you speak to the likes of the minority chief whip in the person of Habib Idris, for instance, he has also confirmed it and says, for instance, that they are currently in touch with the family and making few arrangements as a matter of fact. Eric, I can confirm to you, for instance, that just last week, somewhere last week, Ernest Kumi was in Parliament, either on the Wednesday or on the Thursday. He was in Parliament, and among some of the debate and even the issues concerning the business statement for this week, you could see him in the background, join and having this kind of conversation and discussion with his colleagues on that side, almost at the backbench over there where he usually sits. And I've even confirmed with some of their colleagues on the parliamentary press corps, for instance, that he was on a number of media shows, for instance, just last week, Friday, even during the holiday, for a fact that he was featured on a number of those shows. And so this comes really as a great surprise. And also, I mean, take it in cognizance of the fact that over the period, his seat, for instance, has been one that has been under a bone of contention. So this comes, and when you look at the press room, for instance, all of us, as a matter of fact, are shocked at the news that 40-year-old MP for Ernest Kumi has passed on, which is a very sad one indeed for all of us here. We are still trying to make contact with the leadership of the caucus. As a matter of fact, just like I said, I've gotten in touch with a few of them. Habib Idris, for instance, as well as the MP for Waliwali, Dr. Mahama Kabiru, who have all confirmed that this is true. We are still trying to understand exactly what caused it. What causes them, whether an accident or an illness or whatever that could be. But you know that just some few hours or minutes from now, Parliament is expected to sit, with today being added to the extended sittings. So we're just expecting and getting ready for that when this news struck or broke. It is really one that is devastating, the least to say, and we just look forward to see how MPs are going to react to this news, as a matter of fact, and what they would have to say. We know that the minority MPs were to stage a march or protest to the premises or office of the Ijoko to protest the arrest and detention and even the bail conditions of the former boss of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company. So that was also one that we're just lurking around to get it to move in full swing. Then all of us would join them, as a matter of fact, when this has come, which would indeed disrupt all other, plans and processes and activities, and could, as a matter of fact, cause a change in the line of programming for today in the chamber. Eric.
Right then, Chris, thank you very much. That's Christian Yali, confirming, all but confirming the rather unfortunate news. And like you heard him mention, this will disrupt planned activities for the day in Parliament, and even for the minority as well. And coming rather unfortunate news.
Absolutely.
Coming
and
through.
To learn that he's only 40-year-old, born 5th December 1984. So obviously he couldn't reach his 41st birthday. In certain Akan jurisdictions, they'll say he's 41 years old. But I mean, on paper, we know he's 40 years old. Such a young man. His smile, as we are shown on TV, is now frozen in time and in memory. But on the parliamentary front of things, we expect that it will kickstart processes to make sure that the constituents, the residents of Akwatia, are properly represented. We expect that the caucus, once they have gathered and come to terms with this, will inform or notify the speaker thereof. The processes will be kickstarted by informing the Electoral Commission as well. This is going to be a rolling story for the rest of the day, obviously, dampening the mood for a Monday, and it's really sad. Condolences to the family. May his soul rest.
I think they will be hardest hit. Absolutely. The immediate family, wife, children, and all of that. Condolences to them. A rather sad way to bring the bulletin to an end. I am Awin Aigbeta.
I am Kemeni Amano. Next is the afternoon show. Stay on 3news.com for updates on this breaking news story. But it's bye-bye from us.